David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight we have breaking news on that Michigan football coach fired and now arrested tonight. Also this emergency unfolding, 100,000 residents warned to be ready to evacuate tonight. The images coming in, the dangerous flooding and now the rescues, Navy Black Hawk helicopters saving people. Drivers trapped in their cars in rushing waters, saved, airlifted from those waters in Washington state. Our team is there on the scene. Also the snowstorm, wind chills below zero moving into the Midwest and the Northeast. Also tonight, the stunning turn now after that Michigan head football coach was fired, now the arrest and the new allegations, what we've learned. Tonight, the suspect charged with murdering conservative activist Charlie Kirk in court. Tyler Robinson seen smiling with his lawyers, what played out in that courtroom. 24 hours after U.S. forces seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela, we have new images coming in of how this played out. And tonight here, the Trump administration now saying they've sanctioned 6 more tankers. Are they planning to seize more tankers? Martha Raddatz is standing by. A massive gas explosion leveling multiple homes, rocking an entire neighborhood. There are reports tonight of multiple injuries. Tonight, the cost of health insurance here in the U.S., more than 20 million Americans set to see their premiums skyrocket. Congress cannot agree on this, and tonight the White House is asked, where is the president's health care plan? In New York City at this hour, a bus has slammed into scaffolding in Midtown Manhattan. Emergency crews on the scene. Tonight, Pittsburgh Steelers star linebacker TJ Watt hospitalized, what we've learned. And Christmas now 2 weeks from tonight. Our Made in America, from t-shirts to leather boots to handmade pottery tonight, all made in America, all there in time for Christmas. And what happened after last night?
Not bad.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We have several breaking stories as we come on the air tonight. The Michigan head football coach fired and now word of this arrest and new allegations, what we've learned. But we do begin tonight here with the state of emergency in Washington state. Look at the pictures coming in, catastrophic flooding. Up to 100,000 people have been told to be on alert to evacuate at a moment's notice. Raging waters, entire neighborhoods underwater tonight. Hundreds of National Guard members now activated. Black Hawk helicopters making water rescues. Another chopper was seen saving 2 drivers trapped in the rushing waters, airlifting them to safety. Tonight, we're also tracking a new Clipper system moving from Montana all the way to the East Coast. Dangerous driving in the Northeast. The school bus on its side in Vermont, trouble landing at the Rochester, New York airport. And with this storm, a new Arctic blast, wind chills below zero from Minnesota all the way to New York and right up to Maine. But we do start here with this emergency unfolding. ABC's Trevor Ault on the scene for us in Washington state tonight.
Tonight, rivers raging out of their banks across the Pacific Northwest. 100,000 residents warned to be ready to evacuate. More than a foot of rain already, and multiple rivers in Washington are in major flood stage.
Look at Issaquah Creek racing into the parking lot of this apartment complex here. Emergency workers came in after midnight to get everybody evacuated because the water level was rising so quickly.
Not far from here, first responders from Eastside Fire and Rescue and a Navy chopper working to save 2 drivers caught in the rapids, one of them found clinging to a tree. Blackhawks also making rescues. Swiftwater teams fanning out all across the impacted areas.
If you have instructions to evacuate from your local authorities, please, please, please evacuate.
Residents sandbagging along the Green River. Michael Patak and his brother using heavy equipment.
We're just trying to build a wall, like a little island perimeter around the property here, to keep the water out from the house.
And as rivers rise in the west, new rounds of snow slamming the Midwest and Great Lakes. Planes struggling to land in Rochester, New York. Some spots there could get up to a foot of snow in the next 48 hours with sub-zero wind chills right behind it.
And David, look at the Snohomish River raging here. They had built 33-foot levees to contain it. It just climbed over the top of them as it shattered its record high water level. Some rivers in Washington won't even crest until tomorrow, and then even more rain is coming on Sunday. David.
Just awful scenes coming in from Washington. We're thinking about all those families. Trevor, thank you. Let's get right to meteorologist Dani Beckstrom from WABC back with us again tonight. Hi, Dani.
Hi, David. This is what we're looking at tonight. The next round of rain moving into the Pacific Northwest Sunday night into Monday. Totals won't be as significant, but any additional rain could quickly swell rivers again and trigger more flooding. In the east, cold and blustery conditions fueling heavy lake effect snow across western New York and Pennsylvania, while a clipper system brings accumulating snow and slick roads to parts of the Midwest and Appalachians through tonight. Behind this, a big Arctic blast for the weekend. Wind chills dipping below zero from Minneapolis to Chicago Saturday and Sunday. It'll feel like the teens here in New York City Friday morning, getting even colder for the I-95 corridor by Monday. David?
All right, Dani Beckstrom with us tonight. Dani, thank you. Tonight, the stunning turn here after Michigan head football coach Sherrone Moore was fired. Now we've learned he has been arrested amid new allegations against him. Here's Whit Johnson tonight.
Tonight, the stunning fall from grace for University of Michigan head football coach Sherrone Moore, now under arrest on allegations of assault just hours after being fired from the top job. Police responding to a call yesterday afternoon in the Pittsfield Township area, where they say a suspect was taken into custody, adding the incident does not appear to be random in nature. This dispatch audio seeming to match the location of the alleged assault at the home of a University of Michigan employee.
There's a male at the location and the house attacking her. The state's been stalking her for months.
Dispatchers also heard saying the man threatened to harm himself before fleeing the scene.
They're also advising when he left the location on their call, he walked out with several knives.
Yesterday, before his arrest, the University of Michigan announcing in a statement it had fired the 39-year-old married father of three with cause effective immediately after the school says he allegedly had an inappropriate relationship with a staff member, saying UM maintains zero tolerance for such behavior.
And David, an attorney for Moore, has stated he has no comment. So far, Moore has not been charged. He remains in custody and is expected to appear in court tomorrow. David?
Whit Johnson with us here tonight with thanks. Next tonight, the suspect charged with murdering Charlie Kirk was in court today. Tyler Robinson seen smiling with his lawyers. What played out in that courtroom and the requests from the defendant's lawyers. Here's Jon Karl.
Court is now in session. Tonight, the first in-person court appearance of Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old man who allegedly murdered Charlie Kirk while he was speaking at a college campus in Utah.
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
Dressed in a light blue shirt, a patterned tie, and wearing shackles, Robinson seemed at ease as he conferred with his lawyers, at one point smiling.
I recognize Mr. Robinson in the courtroom.
Also in court, Robinson's brother and his parents, who had convinced the accused killer to turn himself in. Today's hearing, Robinson's lawyers asked the judge to remove cameras from the court, though Kirk's widow, Erica, says the trial is something the world should see.
There were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered. There have been cameras all over my friends and family mourning. There have been cameras all over me, analyzing my every move, analyzing my every smile, my every tear. We deserve to have cameras in there.
The judge hasn't ruled yet whether cameras will be allowed in court once the trial begins. Tyler Robinson has not yet entered a plea. Prosecutors say they intend to seek the death penalty. David?
Jon Karl reporting tonight. Thank you, John. This evening, 24 hours after U.S. forces seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. Tonight, the Trump administration says it has sanctioned 6 more tankers. Are they planning to seize even more? And President Trump saying just moments ago when talking about the strikes on alleged drug boats that, quote, it's going to be starting on land pretty soon. Here's Martha Raddatz.
Tonight, extraordinary new images released of the seizure of the oil tanker Skipper off the Venezuelan coast, with more seizures possible. The U.S. now sanctioning 6 additional tankers they claim are carrying oil from Venezuela.
We're not going to stand by and watch sanctioned vessels sail the seas with black market oil.
An elite Coast Guard tactical operations unit rappelling onto the deck of the tanker from U.S. Navy helicopters, with guns drawn, spreading out to clear and search the tanker. Sources telling us there was no resistance from the crew and no injuries. Officials say that tanker was transporting sanctioned oil from Venezuela and Iran as part of an illicit oil shipping network supporting foreign terrorist organizations, and is now being guided to a U.S. port.
The United States currently has a full investigative team on the ground on the vessel, and individuals on board the vessel are being interviewed.
The Navy helicopters which swarmed the tanker and ferried the Coast Guard unit took off from the aircraft carrier USS Gerald Ford in the Caribbean, part of the massive buildup of U.S. forces, some 15,000 now in the region. And David, all of this is meant to pressure Venezuela's President Maduro, who is calling the seizure of the tanker an act of international piracy. But those seizures, like the boat strikes, are likely to continue, with President Trump, as you said, saying just moments ago that strikes on land are going to be starting pretty soon. David?
Martha Raddatz on this all week long for us. Martha, thank you. Tonight, a massive gas explosion leveling multiple homes in Hayward, California. This is outside Oakland. There are reports tonight of multiple injuries. Here's Melissa Adon from California.
Tonight, a catastrophic gas explosion rocking a neighborhood in Hayward, California, just outside of Oakland. Debris shooting into the sky, this worker ducking for cover. At least 6 people injured, 3 seriously.
We have what appears to be multiple patients.
Brittany Maldonado's doorbell camera capturing the explosion.
Everything just shakes. And when we watched our camera, it was like a bomb went off.
The massive blast destroying at least 2 homes and damaging others.
My roof collapsed on me, and I was in bed.
Authorities say a construction company hit a gas line early this morning, which exploded 2 hours later.
What we're going to do is spend the next several hours combing through the debris, making sure there's no more fire.
David, the gas company was on scene when the explosion occurred. An urgent investigation is now underway. David?
Melissa Adon with us. Melissa, thank you. We turn now to the cost of health insurance here in the U.S. The battle on Capitol Hill, 2 bills failing to pass the Senate on this. More than 20 million Americans are now set to see their insurance premiums skyrocket. And today, the White House was asked, where is President Trump's health care plan? Here's Mary Bruce.
Tonight, more than 20 million Americans are all but certain to see their health care insurance premiums soar at the end of the year after Senate Republicans blocked a move to extend Obamacare subsidies.
After this, we'll not have time to try again before premiums shoot through the roof.
But Republicans refusing, saying the whole health care system needs to be overhauled.
Democrats' so-called plan is a 3-year extension of the status quo. Bring down the cost of health care.
But Republicans still have not agreed on their own health care plan, and President Trump hasn't released a plan of his own. During last year's campaign, he said he had, quote, concepts of a plan.
The president is working with his health care policy team here at the White House, as well as Republicans on Capitol Hill, to find a solution.
But these subsidies are expiring at the end of the year. So what is the plan, and what is he going to do to put this in place in the next 2-3 weeks?
You'll hear more from the president and from the White House on that very soon.
Anxiously waiting in Kanab, Utah, Stacy Cox and her husband, who are expecting their monthly insurance premium to soon quadruple from $495 to more than $2,100.
If those credits aren't extended, we don't have health insurance. We can't afford it.
And tonight, David, still no clarity on the president, and Republicans in Congress are still far apart on this matter, and they're supposed to be leaving for the holiday at the end of next week. David.
All right. Millions of Americans watching this. Mary Bruce at the White House, thank you. Tonight, for the second time, a federal grand jury in Virginia refusing to indict New York Attorney General Letitia James for alleged mortgage fraud. That comes about a week after another grand jury also rejected charges. A federal judge dismissing the original indictment last month, ruling President Trump's handpicked U.S. attorney had been unlawfully appointed. The indictment against former FBI Director James Comey was dismissed on the same grounds. We turn tonight to heart-pounding images 15,000 feet in the air. A skydiver's parachute accidentally opening early, leaving him dangling from the tail of a plane. Other divers were then told to jump, and what the dangling diver then did. Here's Will Reeve.
Tonight, this terrifying moment captured midair, a skydiver dangling from a plane by their parachute at nearly 15,000 feet. The skydiver on board this small plane back in September, about to attempt a group jump over Australia's Tully Airport. Watch as this skydiver leaves the plane, clearing the way for the next one to step out. But as that second skydiver exits, their reserve parachute flies open. Watch closely as the parachute's handle appears to snag on the plane flap. The orange reserve parachute deploying, dragging that skydiver backward, then wrapping around the plane's tail, the skydiver hanging from its lines. That other skydiver sent flying, but deploying their parachute. With the plane now damaged, some of the remaining skydivers ordered to jump. That stranded skydiver using a knife to get free, releasing the main parachute before landing safely with minor injuries. The aircraft returning to the airport, a piece of that reserve parachute still attached to the tail.
David, the final report from Australian authorities said that carrying that knife likely saved that skydiver's life. David?
Wow, just extraordinary images. Will Reeve tonight. Thanks, Will. When we come back on this busy news night, we're tracking a major measles outbreak. Much of this outbreak has been traced to a church. We'll have more. In New York City at this hour, we have learned a bus has slammed into scaffolding in Midtown Manhattan. Emergency crews are on the scene. Pittsburgh Steelers star linebacker TJ Watt has been hospitalized tonight. What we've learned about this. Also, remembering an actor known for many roles, including the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. The actor was hit by a car. We'll have more in a moment. And later tonight, our Made in America Christmas. Christmas now 2 weeks from tonight. So this evening here, from T-shirts to leather boots to handmade pottery, all there in time for Christmas. And what's happened now after last night's report? You got to see this. We'll be right back. Tonight in New York City, the images coming in, a bus slamming into scaffolding and hitting a building in Midtown Manhattan. This is on East 41st Street between Lexington and Park. 41st Street is now closed. At least one person rushed to the hospital. No word at this hour on the extent of the injuries. In South Carolina, state health officials tonight say a measles outbreak there is accelerating. Now 111 cases, 35 more in the last week or so. 254 people in quarantine after being exposed. Authorities say most of these new cases have been traced to a church outside Spartanburg. Health officials tonight continue to urge people to make sure their vaccinations are up to date. When we come back tonight, Pittsburgh Steelers star linebacker TJ Watt has been hospitalized, what we're learning, and an actor hit and killed by a car being remembered tonight. To the index of other news tonight, Pittsburgh Steelers star TJ Watt has been hospitalized tonight. The Steelers say he's undergoing medical evaluation after experiencing discomfort at practice yesterday. Sources also tell ESPN that Watt also experienced some sort of a lung injury during treatment at the team's facility before being taken to the hospital. Tonight, the Steelers say they're unsure if Watt will play Monday night. We do have a passing to note tonight. Actor Wenne Alton Davis, known for numerous roles, including as a police officer in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, has died, hit by a car in New York City. The driver did remain at the scene. No arrests have been made. Wenne Alton Davis was just 60. When we come back here on the broadcast tonight, our Made in America Christmas, 2 weeks to go until Christmas, and 3 great new ideas tonight. They say that they can get them there in time. So we'll go down the list in a moment here. Finally tonight here, it's hard to believe, but Christmas is 2 weeks from tonight. No pressure. And don't worry, small businesses across this country ready to come to the rescue. Tonight, 2 weeks to go until Christmas, and we're still going too. This December alone, Nevada, California, Georgia, North Carolina, New York, Pennsylvania, the potato farmers in Idaho, and those sunglasses made in Massachusetts. Tonight, we take you to El Paso, Texas, Lucchese Bootmaker. The Lucchese family coming to America from Italy in 1882, setting up shop in Texas, and this is their factory now.
Oh, hey, David.
Oscar Sanchez, Director of Manufacturing,
Follow me.
taking us to the floor.
Here in El Paso, our incredible artisans make every boot by hand.
A high five. They tell us 200 workers touch every pair of boots before they're finished. He shows us one of their best-selling boots.
This one is in our signature color, black cherry. And as always, handmade right here in Texas.
Made in Texas. In Gray, Maine, outside Portland tonight, look up at that window. It turns out everyone knew Made in America was calling.
Hi, David.
Husband and wife Kristen and Joe Camp and their company, Campfire Pottery.
All of our pottery is handmade by our team right here in America.
Kristen shows us 2 holiday favorites, starting with something beautiful to hold your olive oil, your salad dressing.
The oil cruet, which we have in multiple colors and shapes, as well as our refillable candle.
Meantime, Joe burning the midnight oil, filling the molds, filling orders for Christmas. The fresh molds carving away the excess. Monica making the candle holders and the lids, each one hand-dipped and glazed. And just watch Kristen and what she does with this clay. Shaping it, flattening it, working it into a bowl. Joe with the bowls, fresh from the kiln, each one ready to go under your Christmas tree. At Campfire Pottery, they tell us tonight they still can get it to you in time.
Merry Christmas, David.
And in Nashville, Tennessee tonight, the company Imogene and Willie.
Hi, David from Imogene and Willie.
Jackie Berkeley with their American-made t-shirts. They call it the Cotton Project.
We're so proud to have produced this fabric from cotton that's been regeneratively farmed, ginned, spun, sewn, all within 400 miles of our home here in Nashville.
The cotton from Martin Farms in Cortland, Alabama.
Hello, David.
Mark and Martin, 7th generation. They love knowing American cotton is behind those t-shirts.
We're glad you're featuring an American farmer. We're proud to be part of Imogene and Willie's Cotton Project.
The cotton spun into yarn at Hill Spinning Mill in Thomasville, North Carolina. The signs are everywhere, made in the USA. The t-shirts sewn in Tazewell, Tennessee, outside Knoxville. Dignity Apparel. 3 states in all, workers in Tennessee, Alabama, North Carolina, all part of these t-shirts.
So many faces, so many hands, hard at work in Tennessee, Alabama, and North Carolina.
At the company, they employ 90 workers and counting.
Hi, David from Imogene and Willie.
Tonight, they're all ready to get it there for Christmas, including those Randolph frames.
I want to see the pair that the fighter pilots are wearing. Right here.
Not bad. Tonight, they tell us hundreds of orders already since our report last night. The flags in that Randolph, Massachusetts factory say it all, and so do the workers. And we'll keep going straight through Christmas. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 3rd year in a row.